ahead and start the timer. Okay, we're recording. Okay, so Joe, start by telling me your name and your age and your grade.
My name is Joe Salisbury. I'm 16 years old, and I am a junior at Taft High School.
Okay. So, how does being at Taft and the relationships you have here affect who you are?
I would say it's probably everything that I have. If I didn't have the relationship that I do with people here, then I don't think I could still be here.
Where else would you be?
Well, I'd be with my friends.
Okay. So, who do you find your most important relationship here at Taft? Or like, you can say more than one person and why.
Probably the close group of friends that you have. For some, I find it a draw to Rasmussen for some reason. It's not like an intimate relationship, like we don't, but I don't know, I just like being around him.
Mm-hmm.
And then people like Mason and Drew.
Okay, how does Mason and Drew and Mackenzie help you when you go through hard times? Like, do they help you, I guess? No?
I'm not a mentor.
Oh, okay. So why don't you just start from like the beginning of your story? So I know you've been through hard times with like your parents and stuff. So
yeah.
Why don't you just start from like where you think the biggest thing was, and then just like work through it.
Oh, where the biggest thing was?
Or just
I think my
the
problem
beginning.
started when I popped out the womb. I was screwed from day one.
Okay, so tell me about that.
Well, my parents were, they were really young. They were like, I think my mom was 19 and my dad was 20. And they never got their chance to be kids because they had a kid so early. And we never had any problems financially because my dad worked and did everything he possibly could, but their relationship was not a very sound one. Like, they ran off and got married in Vegas and didn't tell anybody else until they came back and said we were married. But my mom never settled down. My dad settled down as, I got a little bit older and my brother came around. My mom never did settle down, and today I still hear that she hasn't quite settled down yet.
Okay, so what do you mean by settled down? Like, what were some of the things that made it hard for her being your mom?
That she would sneak off and go do stupid crap. My dad would be left there trying to find somebody to watch my brother and I while he went to work because she wasn't around.
Okay, so do you ever feel sorry for yourself?
No.
No? Okay, so tell me about like the worst possible day you've had.
Well, the worst day of my life was definitely the day I got taken to my parents.
Okay, tell me about it.
Well, I was hanging out with Drew, and I came home because I didn't like to be home on the weekends because my dad was My dad was real meat drunk, so I didn't want to be around him when I didn't have to. So I typically hung out at Drew's from like Thursday after we got out of school till Sunday afternoon because I didn't want to be home. And looking back, I kind of feel guilty for that because I wasn't there for my brother and sister when they needed me most. But so Drew and I were hanging out like any normal weekend, and I came home on it was either Saturday or Sunday to get clothes and stuff. And my mom was in tears, and she was saying, "Oh, okay, just be back tomorrow early." I didn't really know what was going on. My dad's truck wasn't in the parking lot, which it wasn't abnormal because it was like 11 o'clock, and he'd get up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then he'd go to work, and he'd be home whenever he got home. So went back to Drew's, and we did our thing. And then when I came home Sunday, my Aunt Marcy was there, and she told me that we'd have to go to court in the morning. And so we went to the court in the morning. I saw my brother and sister for the first time that whole week, for that whole the whole weekend. And they handed me a police report of what happened, because when you go to court, you get like this sheet of paper, and it's like a packet, and it's got police documentation, and it's got like interviews I did with about it. So I got told everything that happened, like on this little piece of paper, is like, here, you go deal with it. And then we left court, and I had to go talk to the Department of Human Resources, and they told me that I would be taken from my brother, or from my mom and dad, that I wouldn't be able to go with my Aunt Marcy to live in Washington because there's things that still had to happen. And so I slept in this room for a little while until Heidi came and picked me up, and then the rest is history.
The rest is history. Okay, so if you don't mind, like sharing what happened. Like,
oh yeah. My dad was drinking as usual, and my mom, I guess this problem escalated because she wasn't coming home at nights, and she cheated on my dad before, and he's an idiot for sticking around, and I can't tell you how many times I told him, you need to get away from her, you need to leave. But he didn't listen because he had this belief that he always stick it out because his parents got divorced when he was young. He might have been 15 actually. And he didn't think that's how it was supposed to be done. So they were fighting and arguing, and somehow my brother started mouthing off to my dad. So my dad told him to go to bed. And he didn't want to go to bed, so he told him to get in the shower. And Josh said no, he wasn't doing anything. So my dad hit him and told him to get in the shower. And it wasn't abnormal for him to hit us, but typically it was out of discipline, not out of anger. And then my brother eventually settled down, but the neighbors had already called the cops. And so he jumped off the porch and thought it'd be a good idea to run away from the cops. So he gets in his truck and he leaves, and he stays at his friend Steve's house, and he goes to work the next morning. And then when they pull him over, it was probably 3 o'clock because he drives a bread truck.
Mm-hmm.
They pulled him over probably about 3 o'clock, and he was still drunk, and they took him to jail. And my mom went with my brother to the hospital because the cops thought it'd be a good idea for my brother to go to the hospital just as like a precautionary measure. She was drinking as well, and she made a complete idiot of herself. And she was screaming at everybody there, and then she decided it was a good idea to leave. So she left my brother and sister, she left my sister sitting out in the lobby, and my brother in the back getting checked out. So the cops took them to the DHS office down in Newport, and they spent the night there until Heidi came and picked them up.
And so this is all happening while you were at Drew's house, so
Yeah.
you had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, unbeknownst to me.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so since that happened, what's changed? Like, what have been the biggest changes in your life?
My relationship with my mother is absolutely destroyed. That is never going to be salvaged because she's always been a little off, but she was my mom, so I mean I had to love her.
Yeah.
I don't have the option. But now as I kind of separate myself from her and I start to become an adult, I realize that she is not something I need in my life. And seeing the way she influences my sister, it kills me, but there's nothing I can do about it at this point.
So your sister's still close to her?
Yeah. Oh, but they live with each other.
Okay, so Lily lives with
My mom.
your mom, and then you and Josh live at the Newmans? Okay, so do you have the choice to move now?
Yeah.
And so it's your
I've
choice
had the
to
choice
stay?
to move since the first full year I was in care.
Okay. So what is making you stay here? Why not move with your dad, or, well, obviously you don't want to move back with your mom because that relationship isn't there anymore.
Definitely the school, people around it.
Okay. So how do you think, do you tell a lot of people your story, or is it kind of something you keep to yourself?
No, for the first couple years I was really bothered by it, and I get visits from people at the state that come to the school, and I'll lie about it and say, well, I was somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost embarrassed about it because I know my parents are better people than that, and they just made a dumb choice.
Mm-hmm.
But I not bled very open about it.
Okay. So how do you think other people view your story?
I don't think other people have the people around me, the people I'm close with, I think have a good idea, and I'm sure people have heard about it. But looking at me, the days after, I don't think I'm good.
Yeah. So now that this story is kind of going to be in the school newspaper and stuff, how do you feel about that?
Like, I finally, like, I can get it out there now.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more.
Yeah. What has been, like, the biggest help through everything? So, like, a time when you were really, like, think of a time when you were the most down. What has been, like, the biggest help? It can be, like, a person or, like, a religion. I don't know.
Oh, I would say it's myself.
Yourself?
Yeah.
How?
Because there's nobody that can help me but me. I've seen counselors, I've seen all these people that try to fix what's wrong, but I don't think there's anything wrong.
Okay, so you just kind of, you're taking it like, okay, this happened to me.
Okay, so
Move
you
on.
keep living.
Yeah. I think that's really cool. Okay, so tell me about living at the Newmans. How's that been?
Good.
Good?
It's a very warm, welcoming home.
There's a lot of kids there. Has that been, like, difficult?
It's really settled down lately.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Chandra has moved out, and it's just, the Como and Lakota are only 2 weeks now. So it's a lot like it was at my house.
Mm-hmm. So is this something that you think about a lot, like being away from your parents and stuff, or?
Oh, constantly. With my dad especially, because my dad and I, we had a good rapport before all this. Like he was, I'm sure you're aware. He was, he's a coach. He was always there. He was there. But it was at nights when he decided to do his drinking thing where it got worse.
Yeah. So what's your biggest regret?
Not being there that night.
Yeah.
To step in and try to do something about it. But looking back, I don't think it could have helped too much.
Yeah. So if you were there that night, what was one thing you would do?
I would talk to Josh. Tell him to. You gotta keep quiet because it's not gonna.
Yeah.
You're not gonna win this one, so just do it. Talk about it.
Yeah. So how do you think it's affected your brother? Like, is he different now, or how does he feel about it?
He's really closed off about it.
He doesn't like to talk about it?
No, I remember we used to get into fights about it. Like drag out fist fights about it.
So it's changed your brother and your relationship too?
Yeah, well, I think for the better.
Okay.
Because before we weren't. I mean, he's my best friend now. Absolutely. And before we weren't. We were douchebags to each other, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. And so now that you guys have been through this together, you kind of feel like you're in it for the long run?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, okay, I asked that already. How often do you get to see your parents now?
I see my mom when I want to, but I see my dad increasingly more now that the state is kind of allowing it to happen. Because he was in jail for the first year after I came into care. And since then we've been working on building a relationship.
Yeah.
So I see him once a week.
Okay. And then he lives in Sweet Home, right?
Yeah.
So do you think so you think you're definitely going to finish high school here?
That's been a big topic of discussion as to where, because this summer's going to be really important as to where I finish high school.
Yeah. So do you have like a preference of where you would want to?
That's my big dilemma, is I don't know where I want to be.
Yeah.
I feel disloyal leaving the school and going over to Sweet Home, but I want to try to salvage whatever relationship I can with my dad.
Yeah. Okay, so other than your siblings and your parents, who has been close to you and your family have helped you, if anybody?
In my family?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say any of them, because they all have their personal what they want to do.
So, how did you end up with the Newmans? Like, why them?
Because they were the only foster home in Lincoln County at the time. And if Heidi hadn't been
are you grateful for them?
Absolutely. Every day.
Yeah. Okay, so how have things like holidays and like family get-togethers been different? How does that feel?
Well, they're weird because we have to pick and choose.
Mhm.
Now it's our place to say where we're going. It's like Christmas this year. It's been weird because Heidi wants us at home, but my aunt wants us over there, and it puts me in the middle.
Mhm. So being with Josh. Okay, let me rephrase that question. So your dad, when you guys were younger, you said it wasn't uncommon for him to like hit you guys.
Yeah.
So how was that? I mean, I guess not how, but
Oh well, I mean it wasn't.
it was normal.
Ah.
Okay. Well, that's most of what I have. If you were to tell this story to somebody else, like kind of to help them through a situation they were going through, what is like advice you would give to them? Or like how to cope with hard things.
How to cope with it. To not let it get to you, I guess.
Mhm.
Don't change. The biggest thing is don't fall back on it.
Yeah.
Don't say, oh, I can't do this because of this. And that's what bothers me the most. I see it more times than not. A lot of kids that are in foster care say, oh, I can't do well in school because I got this going on. Well, you can't.
Mhm.
You just gotta want to do it.
Yeah. Okay. I think I pretty much covered it. Is there anything else you think is really important to the story? So your mom, you don't really see her much.
Now, well, I see her, it's just not like at the store and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's only a couple times.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I don't even know. So how's it being away from Lily, not living in the same house with her?
I don't mind it. She reminds me too much of my mom.
Is that hard?
Yeah. Oh, it's difficult, believe me. Because she's not. It's not how I want her to turn out.
Mhm.
That's the reality I'm facing.
Yeah. And so did Lily have the choice of where to go?
Yeah.
Or
And actually, my brother moved back with my mom for a little bit. But
how was that for him?
he said it's true. He saw the metaphorical part. Because she's a little off and controlling and not healthy for a good relationship.
Mhm. So
So he moved back real quick.
yeah. So besides the drinking and not being there, was there anything else that ever just made her not present in your guys' life, or was that just the basis of it? That was
Well, and she didn't like my dad's family.
okay.
And the more that I reconnect with him now, my cousin, he's a freshman at OSU this
Mhm.
year, and I had, and I kind of blame that on her because it was her fault we weren't over there more.
Mhm.
But I have a cousin who's a junior at Sweet Home High School, and him and I are we're good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So do you ever feel like do you ever feel bad that you have a bad relationship with your mom, or was it just
No,
your choice to?
I've learned to look out for me first.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I need to make sure that I'm taken care of,
Mhm.
and that everything outside of that it will come next.
So did you ever kind of feel like you had to become the parent yourself
Yeah, every day.
every day,
Every day.
even when you guys were living? So from the very start, you felt like the parent most of the time.
With my parents, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't do it.
Okay. So who else do you think would be worth talking to hear about to put input on your story? It can be like a teacher, somebody who just knows you well. Your brother?
I would think.
Okay. Yeah, because I'd like to hear his side of the story. Sounds really interesting. Okay. Well, then I think that's all I have. Okay. respond to the following statement. If someone were to say to you that Taft High School is like one big family, how would you describe that family? And how it's influenced you. No, how would you describe it?
How? Oh, okay.
It doesn't have to be one word.
I would say
It's a mess.
but it's a mess that works.
Okay, and then how it's influenced you.
It's changed. It's molded me like the person I am today. It's definitely. It can be a positive place if you want it to be, but if you come here and you go through the motions and you don't connect with anybody and you decide that you're not gonna comply with it, then there's nothing that you can. Your relationship with the Taft is already screwed.
Yeah.
And I see it get scrutinized too often, and it doesn't deserve the scrutiny.
All right. Cool. Then I guess that makes an interview. All right. So I'll probably talk to your brother. Do you want to be in the room when I talk to your brother, or?
He wants me to be. That's
Okay. So I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
When is is this the yearbook end of the year thing?
Kind of. I'm gonna stop these because they're gonna time out and then delete everything, and that would be bad. So they are. We're gonna be working on it. Hold on. So we're gonna be working on it, and it hopefully will come out around like February time.